Carolina Risotto.
What's up, guys? I'm Carolina Risotto. Welcome back to another episode of No Ducks Given podcast, the podcast where we speak openly and honestly about the highs and lows in life because vulnerability is a superpower, not a weakness. Today's episode is about the secret behind ambition, hard work, and readapting. And we're going to talk about that through the story of Rodolfo Gonçalves. Originally a Brazilian immigrant who worked as a programmer, he won the green card lottery in 2004 and decided to move to the USA to try to live the American dream. To make ends meet at first, he had to work washing dishes, but then he quickly learned how to bake, and within the past 20 years, he has not only started his own business, but also won several awards and won Netflix show Baking Impossible, where a baker and an engineer get together and make some of the craziest cakes you could have ever seen. So today we're going to learn more about Rodolfo's ambitious journey as a baker and entrepreneur, and also talk about the different ways he's had to readapt to be a business owner in the US. Rodolfo, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
It is kind of like a full circle moment for me to be doing this interview with you, because I think we met in 2016.
Yeah, I remember you showing up
at
the bakery.
I showed up at your bakery in the West Village. Yeah. What was it called again?
Sweet Corner Bake Shop.
Sweet Corner Bake Shop. And if anybody wants to check it out, our meetup is on my YouTube channel. It's in a video where I do a tour of like the Friends TV show neighborhood. And then he's just in it. And I was like, oh my God, Rodolfo, that's the same name as my dad. So I was like, I need to interview this guy. I need to talk to him. And so since then, we've kept a relationship. And I've seen like your business progress into so many different layers. And I'm really inspired by everything you do and how like you never give up. And you're always reinventing yourself as a business owner, which I think is kind of what it takes to make it in the US.
First of all, I know you're a big Friends fan. The reason I came to New York was because of Seinfeld. I'm a big fan of Seinfeld. I said, that's where I want to be. I want to live the life. So that's one of the reasons that I chose New York.
Rodolfo, you have like one of the craziest stories, because I know that when you were living in Brazil, you didn't even consider baking. You weren't a chef. You had no experience in the kitchen. So tell me a little bit about that move that you made in 2004. Like, how old were you? Working as a programmer, moving here and getting a job in restaurants. How was that whole process?
So like living in São Paulo, it's a big city like New York, a little disorganized. Then I applied for the green card lottery in 2003 and I forgot. In 2004, I think I remember my mother calling me like, you have a big package here. Like when I got home, I saw the symbol like from United States. I said, what is that? Then I opened, it's like, welcome. You won a green card. Of course, after you win a green card, a lot of people ask me this question. It's not only winning, you need to prove that you're going to be something good here that they can bring here. So I was checking, it was around 10 million people that apply for it. 100,000 won the green card, and only 50,000 is going to get the green card, because you need to pass in a process like health, if you are a criminal or something like that, and what are you going to bring to the country. So it was a long process, about 3 months.
What did you say in your application when you had to like prove your worth to the government?
I was 24 years old, very young. So I have a lot of energy, to bring to this country. And it was my dream. I told them about Seinfeld show.
Are you
because,
serious?
Yeah, it's just a talk that when you go there, so I said, that's my dream. I want to live this life. And yeah, I got it. I remember getting here at the airport, because they don't give you anything. They give you a closed package. So when you walk in the United States, you just give a closed package. And I was like, so it's my first time here having the green card. The guy looked at me, it's like, I know. So he brought me to somewhere, opened the package, all the instructions over there.
So when you first moved to the US, was it hard getting a job as a programmer? Because that's what you originally were doing.
Yeah, so I had a little money I was saving. But I didn't find any job. My English It's still not good, but it was like horrible. And it was a kind of difficult to find a job. And 1 month passed, and like I didn't find anything. I said it's time to make some money, at least for a little time, until I find a job. And my first job was like drying dishes in a restaurant 49th Street. It was a little hard, you know. The beginning for every immigrant, it's very, very hard. A lot of people say like, oh, you live in America, American dream, but you need to have energy to come here and do whatever you can to survive.
Yeah, it takes a lot of hard work to make the dream come true. So how did it feel going from having a job that as a programmer, which is like a nice title, usually pays well, from washing dishes basically because you couldn't speak English fluently enough to get a job?
I was so upset with that. But you start looking to other people, everybody's immigrant, and like everybody has the same way, you know. You need to fight your way up. When something comes for you and it's too easy, you don't give the value that it's supposed to give.
You value a lot more everything you've earned because you started from the bottom.
Yeah.
Literally,
Oh,
of the
yeah,
chain of the
100%.
restaurant industry. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So when did you start learning how to bake and get into that world?
Around 2006, I met Patricia, my wife today. We were living together, and one day we were watching a show from Brazil called Mais Você from Ana Maria Braga. They had a little competition over there who could do the best honey bread. And I told my wife, oh, I love honey bread. I love honey bread. So we took the recipe from the winner and we baked it, but it was like a big tray. So I said, I cannot eat everything. So we started giving away for friends and family. And that's how it started. People started asking for more. And this was like doing from home, working all day long, getting home, baking, packaging. Next day, bring to people in a restaurant or friends.
So you learned how to bake by yourself?
Yeah, from home.
Wow.
First was from home. People start asking for like, oh, can you do the dessert for my wedding? Can you do this? Can you do that? And then they start doing like, so it was a little hobby. And then I remember the first order of cake. Someone asked, can you guys do cake? And we said, no, we don't do cake. This is when Food Network started competition about cakes. So I used to watch like Duff or Cake Boss, like, oh, that's amazing. But I never thought in my life that I could do something like that. Then my wife did it. She started. I remember she came home in the end of the week with the cake, and she said, oh, look what I did. And I look and I laugh. She got mad with me, like, can you do it better? I don't know how, but I just did it. And she's like, how did you do that? So we started baking from home, doing cakes.
So you were baking better than your wife.
Yeah.
And making fun of her for it. Wow, I love it. And were you still like washing dishes at this point?
Oh, no. So then I started growing inside of the restaurant. So waiter, I did everything, bartender, waiter, kitchen as well, but I never baking.
Baking, it just sort of happened. It just came into your life.
Just came to my life.
You weren't working as a baker,
I
learning.
didn't looking for like, I'm going to school, I'm going to do this. I wasn't looking for. Then we started doing like cakes at home. Like, so every year I started watching videos, like how to do something, books, reading a lot of books. So every money that we're getting, buy a new book, buy a new equipment for the kitchen, a new mixer like this, a new microphone. So you start investing little by little and you see the results. So this was around 2008.
At that point, were you already feeling like this was a potential career for you that you wanted to pursue full time?
Not yet. It's going to be around 2008 that I said, oh, this could be like a business.
Before that, you were just like, this is an additional source of income.
Yeah.
But you really enjoyed it?
I really enjoy doing it because I always be on a creative side. I like it when I move to baking and not computer because I hate my job. Sitting down all day, like typing something very logical. I like to be creative and don't have a logic on it. Like just be open and be creative.
So why did you work as a programmer in the first place?
Just like sometimes you take a boat, you don't want to jump in the water. And I think I was too young, just follow like friends doing the same things. So I think I followed this, but it wasn't my dream. I always had a little bit on the creative side, but I never followed this dream.
Normal. I mean, you didn't have any role models, so I can see why you would just follow the path that everybody else is taking. That's what most people do.
But it's like find your space, like who you are. And that's what I started doing to my life. Like I'm doing something that I like from now on to make money. My wife got pregnant. We had Victor, my most precious thing. Every show that I do, I talk about Victor. Every show, I put a little clue somewhere in the cake, like Victor everywhere.
That's so cute.
Yeah. He knows, so he can tell his friends. But Victor was born, so of course we need more money. I started working more jobs. I was doing waking up 5 o'clock in the morning, going to the flower market, get flowers, going decorate restaurants. So doing a lot of stuff, like driving, even before Uber, driving anything to make money. And I remember one of the girls that I worked for, she was looking at my cakes and she's like, hey, this is really, really cool. Brides Magazine is doing a competition next year. This was the end of 2008. So in the beginning of the year, she's like, they're doing a competition, the most beautiful cake in America. You should apply. I said, are you kidding me? I'm not going to apply for Brides Magazine. It's the most biggest magazine for wedding. She said, no, you're going to apply. You're going to apply. And she was in my head all the time. Said, okay, I'm going to apply.
Was this a customer?
No, she was my boss in the flower business.
Wow. Okay, so now you were working at a flower shop.
Yeah.
Wow.
Kind of a flower shop. We decorate restaurants, high-end restaurants. So you go in the morning, decorate the restaurant, leave it before the restaurant open. And then after that, I go to work in the restaurant. So she's like, you should apply. You should apply. I said, okay, I'm going to apply. So I did a sketch. I sent it to Brides Magazine. And a few days after, they can you make this cake for the competition? I said, yeah, I can. So I did the cake. I remember when I went to deliver, my wife had Victor and holding Victor. And when we got there, it was a lot of big names over there, on the cake business. Yeah, forget it. It was 100, 200 cakes over there. Said, okay, forget it. So a few days later, I got a call from Brides Magazine. They're like, congratulations, you're one of the most beautiful cakes in America. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? We're in a Brides Magazine and I don't have a business. I was doing cake from home,
I'm wondering what the cake looked like, if I may ask.
Yeah, it was a 3-tier cake, white and black. I love a white and black. It was old, handmade, flower lines. It was very beautiful, very simple, but very beautiful.
How'd you come up with the design?
This is something my wife asked me sometimes. She did ask me before, how can you do it? I don't know. It's just I see it and I can do something like that in cake. How? I don't know. It's just you do it. Of course, years of training as well help you develop you have the skills, but you need to develop how to get better on that skill. And I tell everybody, all my employees, after 100 times you repeat something, you're going to be good at it. Because you're going to look your first one in the number 100, it's a big difference. So repeating, training is just like a NBA player or a soccer player. You need to train, So we had big weddings, people calling us from Brides Magazine, I want to order cake. How can we do that? I didn't have a company. I'm not going to call the brides from Manhattan to go to Queens in my house to have a tasting. So I was time to be creative. So I was telling them Oh, I'm very high end. So I bring the tasting in your house. We do everything in your house.
So you did that to readapt to the fact that you didn't have like a cake shop.
Exactly.
Brilliant. I love that.
Be creative, right? Be Brazilian. But it got to a moment that it was too big to keep doing from my home. And then I met Priscilla, she was my business partner, Sweet Corner Bake Shop. We talked like, this is my idea. I want to do cakes where people can see me from the outside when I'm doing the cakes. And then have a little coffee shop. We start Sweet Corner Bake Shop back in 2013. So we closed during pandemic. It was the last year from our lease. The guy wanted more money, and pandemic, it was like selling 95% less. But during this process, of course, like I got a lot of TV shows that I did, Food Network, like Cake Wars, Winner Cake All. Sometimes you think everything goes wrong and you say, what are you gonna do now? You don't have escape. I was closing my shop and I said, what are you gonna do now? Like, I don't have a job. I don't know what to do. Netflix called me a few weeks after that. Are you free? I said, yes, I am. And we are looking for someone like you to be part of the show. It's okay.
Baking Impossible.
Baking Impossible. It's really scary when you go to a show and you don't know your partner. Because you never know what's going to happen. You can get someone that is very stressful, doesn't know what they're going to do. But when I met Sarah, everything changed. Like, we connected right away.
Sarah was the engineer that you worked with on Baking Impossible.
So the show, it's about an engineer and a baker. And you guys going to collide and make the craziest thing ever, like a car or a tower, and everything needs to be edible, or a bridge.
The craziest one for me was the floating boat. That is crazy. They made a boat that had to make it from point A to point B in water.
Yeah,
it's
in
like
water.
Defying science altogether.
It needs to be 100% edible. We didn't go well on this episode. And I think the first two, we didn't go well. So me and Sarah are like, oh my God, how are we going to turn this around? So actually, it's just like a story in my life. We start like really bad and then start getting good,
Yeah, because you won the show.
Yeah,
even though
the show.
Yeah, you didn't perform well the first 2 episodes, but you still won, which is really impressive.
So yeah, it was like, I remember like today when you saw our name coming down, like Rodolfo and Sarah, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Because for an immigrant to win something like that, it's way bigger, And for my mom, I'm like a superhero, I work for Superman and Batman. Like, it's something big for her. It's a dream that I didn't have it, but I want to accomplish, like it's a medal for like you made in America. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, thank God we did this. So it was a big, big thing for me.
The timeline is pretty crazy too, because your bake shop closed. You didn't know what you were going to do. It was COVID. Business was going low for everyone. Everybody lost business during COVID. And then Netflix calls you and you're shooting this amazing show that you then won.
Yeah, it was, by the way, a lot of people ask a lot of questions about the show. And one of the questions, this was during the pandemic. So it was really hard. It was 2 months in California, but we could not leave the hotel room. Because if someone in a production, it was a huge production. It was like 300 people working behind the lens, like if someone get COVID, everything is going to close. And they are very clear about that. Nobody can leave. Nobody can do anything.
How many hours were you filming per day?
Long hours. You know how it's shooting? It's like when they give you the clock running, this is like they give you 8 hours. It's 8 hours.
In a row,
not stopping. But then you sit down, you're going to talk to the judges, like, oh, change this, change the position of that. And this go many, many hours. So it was like 12 hours every day, waking up in the morning and going back to the hotel, and by the end of the day. So it was like hotel, shooting, hotel. In the next day, you need to sit down in a chair, all dark, the camera, and a guy in front of you. So Rodolfo, minute 5, you did this, because he has everything writing down. So minute 33, you talked this to Sarah. So you did this. Why did you do that? So it was a long hours like shooting.
I know that baking is also a lot of chemistry, people say. So how did you align that with the engineering of boats and towers and bridges and all that?
Yeah. So like I said, I got really luck meeting Sarah. Something wasn't working, and I remember me and Sarah, if something is not working for 20 minutes, we change it. I don't remember what it was, but I was having a little headaches. I think it was on the first episode. And Sarah turned it to me and she said, pivot. And I stopped it. I look at the camera. It's like, what does pivot means? I didn't know what a pivot means.
If you watched Friends, you would know what pivot means.
Oh, really?
There's a whole episode with a joke of pivot.
So, yeah.
That's what you get for being a Seinfeld fan.
That's true. And I was like, what are you going to do now? And I turned and said, Sarah, what is pivot? And she started laughing, like, change it, like, make something else, like. And
Re-strategize.
Yeah. So I could make a t-shirt like pivot, right?
There is one for the Friends TV show.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm telling you. It's a thing.
So, yeah, learning new words. Of course, we got ups and downs in the show. But me and Sarah, we had so much respect for each other. So we need to find because sometimes I want to go in one direction, she want to go in another direction, but at the same time I need to explain that this is not gonna work with food. She needs to understand that, and I need to understand that I need to trust her and about the engineer part as well. Like on the building construction, of course I want to make a tower like everybody think it was a square tower. She came to me and said, that's not the strongest tower we can build, we need to make a triangle. I said, why? She said, trust me, that's the most strongest one.
There's no time to explain.
Exactly. We don't have time. So that's what I did. I trust her. And I remember winning that one because our building didn't collapse.
Right. Is this the one where they put the buildings through an earthquake?
Yeah.
That was crazy. Literally, they made this tower, and then
7 feet tall.
7 feet tall. And then to test out if they did it right, they would have different levels of earthquake. So if the tower fell apart, you would lose, basically.
Yeah. So we had everything standing there, not even shake. So
that show is really insane. I need more seasons.
Crazy. Yeah. And so, yeah, like I said, all about trust and like keep pushing. Of course, I went directions that I was a little scared to go. But if you want to win something, you need to take risks. If you stay like only on the like safe zone, how are you going to win big things, So take risks. If you lose, fine, but you try it. Or if you lose or if you not do something, and you're going to keep putting this in your mind, like, why didn't I try that? Why didn't do this thing?
The classic what if.
What if.
That haunts people.
So you're going to hold that for your whole life, But if you try and you fail, okay, next one.
Yeah.
Learn with the process. Don't repeat the mistake. Everybody repeat the mistakes now. But try not to repeat the mistakes. And keep pushing, keeping discovering new things and trying new things, until you get there.
Yeah, failure is just information you need to make the next move, but it's not a bad thing to fail per se.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know who posted something, but I was reading about Michael Jordan. He lose more shots, last minute shots, than he make the last minute shots. But the one that everybody remembers is the one that he made it. Because he was there to try. If you don't try, people are not going to remember you. So you need to try different things.
Yeah, people only really pay attention to the victories. They don't look at all the hard work and
like
all the failures
process.
that went behind it.
Just like we were talking before the shows, like it was amazing how you told my story in less than a minute. But the process to get to, it's long. People are going to beat you down and you need to get up and keep going. Like when I closed my shop, I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? Just lost the business. Keep trying.
That's why I wanted to talk about how I think the secret to ambition and to success is to readapt and re-strategize and keep going, because it's not about wanting something so bad that it makes you cry. Like if you have that amount of passion, that's great. But passion will only get you so far. It's about having that strength to persist and to think, okay, what's working, what isn't, let's re-strategize, which is something that I think we have to do a lot as immigrants, but everybody has to do with their business. And I've had to do it as well. I remember my first year in the US back in 2015. I had this whole plan about how my year was going to go. And I had 3 jobs, like right off the bat. I was working like a maniac because I had to survive financially, right? So, but I remember that I was like, okay, so by this time next year, I'm going to be doing this, and that. A year later, I was like, okay, nothing that I thought was going to happen happened. But I'm going to pivot, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to try this now and just see how it goes. So my new mentality is I have goals, I have objectives, I move towards them. But then if something happens that changes that trajectory, I kind of just follow. And I feel like that's kind of what you've been doing. You persist, you work hard, but you're like, oh, okay, opportunity, let's give it a try. And then, Bridesmaid magazine or Netflix or reality show or Ana Maria Braga.
Yeah. It's funny that you said like opportunity. And I remember a lot of people say that I have luck, a lot of luck. Because I won on a green card lottery, I meet a lot of people, and then this and that, I want this. But I said, I think luck, it's hard working and try. Because if you don't try, you're not going to get lucky. If you play in a mega million, maybe you're not going to win. But you're never going to win if you don't play it. So it's like you need to try something to win. And like I remember, I don't know who, but somebody told me, opportunity, it's a big monster with a lot of arms, and they put oil on their arms. When they pass in your front, if you just touch it, it's going to go away. You need to jump it, grab it, and like, this is my opportunity. If it doesn't work, it's fine.
Did it ever scare you? Like, for
Always.
example, yeah?
Always.
Okay, so tell me, when you got that call from Netflix, how did you feel at first?
It's weird because it's something that you always see, like you want to be on TV, you want to do this. But when it's happening, it's like you're in a different zone. Like this is happening. Like, oh my God, this is happening. And when you start meeting people, one thing very important, I remember my first show. I'm trying to be nice to everybody, like talking to everybody. So, and I remember I started talking to people on the show. So you start putting your name out there. So the next show that they called me is because of the contact I've made in the first one. So don't lose the opportunity that you're having to make connections.
Networking, yes.
Networking is very, very important because, like I said, one day someone is going to remember your name and said, Rodolfo or Carol, and you need to do it.
Yeah, I actually have an entire episode just about the power of networking on my podcast.
Oh, that's
because most jobs or opportunities you will get because of people you met and not because of the job application you filed online. People, like, they can feel your energy and that will define if you get the job. That actually happened to me yesterday. Someone that I met through social media, we met up for coffee for the first time, and he was like immediately like, I love your energy. I want to work with you. I was like, oh, great. It's like he didn't see my website. He didn't see my portfolio, but he knew that I make content. And sometimes that's all it takes. It's like, so that in-person networking opportunity that you had in these shows, like you have to take advantage of that.
Yeah, like you said, sometimes in the resumes, people are going to just see a piece of paper and you keep be lying a lot over there. But when you meet someone, you know, you're going to show who you are.
Yeah, you never know who you're talking to.
You never know. In New York, like sometimes you're sitting in a subway, it could be a billionaire in your side. You never know.
Yeah, Ed Sheeran took the subway the other day.
Oh, really? Yeah. See, you never know.
So, how did you deal with your own insecurities throughout all the instability that your career has brought? You know, moments of fear, of unknown, not knowing what's going to happen next. How did that feel, and how did you deal with that emotion?
It's hard. I have a lot of fear, but I'm very cold when something is happening.
You mean you're good controlling your emotions, basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I have the fear, but I'm not gonna put it this when I'm out there doing something that I need my help, you know?
Yeah, something my therapist actually told me recently is that it's like not all of your thoughts are relevant, and you have to choose what thoughts you give importance to. And so fear is natural. We're all going to feel it. So it's like recognize it, but don't let it be the big decision maker of your life. So it's like, okay, I'm scared. Okay, I'm anxious. I'm feeling insecure, but I still have to go and do this.
You need to choose your fight. Everybody's gonna have big fights every day, but you need to choose which one you're gonna fight. Because if you fight every problem that you have in your day, you're not gonna get it to your goal. So I think, yeah, you need to choose which fight you're gonna go for. So I choose not to be stressed. And
You choose not to fight with yourself.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, like life is already so complicated. There's so many obstacles we have to face. So don't choose to be your own obstacle as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think your mind is a big obstacle.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. I think your mind is the first one that is gonna take you down, you know. Being there, sometimes you take a big hit. You just sit down on the sofa for a long time, like, what am I gonna do now? So it's just your mind playing games with you, you know. Sometimes it's not bad to get a big hit because you can find solutions during your downtime. And this happened to me after the show as well. I tried a different company, it didn't work really well. I need way more money to invest. But after that, I was like in the sofa for a long time. I found a solution during this process, you know. And very soon, we can talk about that, but I cannot say yet. But me and Sarah, we are doing something for the future. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really inspiring to see your mentality because I feel like you've had to re-strategize so many times, you know. Moving to the US, you started washing dishes, and then suddenly you started a baking business, and then you're entering competitions. So you're doing all of these things you've never done before and succeeding at them by really just controlling your mind, it seems. Like it seems like you're really good with your managing your mental health. Not to say that you don't have moments where you feel down, but you're able to get back up really well. So do you have any tips or advice when it comes to that? Because there's a lot of conversation about mental health these days. A lot of people are not that strong. So like, where'd you get that from, or any tips?
You're the only one that is going to cure your mind if you have a problem. You can talk to a lot of people. A lot of people gonna give you like a lot of, oh, do this, do that. But it's you and your mind at the end. So you are the only one that is going to fight for your problems. Believe in yourself.
So believing in yourself is key.
Because a lot of people, is going to try to push you down.
I think believing in yourself is important, even if you have external validation. The thing is, if you don't believe in yourself, as soon as you lose that, even if for a second, it will make you crumble. It will take you down. So I think either if you have proof of succeeding or not, if you have external support or not, you have to choose to believe in yourself, because what other life are you going to live where you're constantly questioning yourself and torturing yourself and not living an empowering life? Like that sounds like torture. So might as well believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Eventually something 100%. Good comes out of it, right?
Just like you said, pivot. We're going to find everybody like think they're, oh, this is it, I'm going to die, no, it's just like, keep pushing.
How were you able to re-strategize and think of new opportunities for yourself? Like, what was that process like when you felt like you reached a dead end and you were like, okay, I need to come up with a new business idea to support myself?
That's a big process. Start very small. Don't think too big in the beginning, because you need to, because when you go to, oh, this is great, this you get a blind spot of the problems.
I see. So like slow and steady wins the race.
I believe it. Like, I don't want to make mistakes I did in the past. You stop learning when you die.
Something that I personally believe, which I do with my content, is when I have an idea, I think of many different ways that I can do it. I come up with a strategy. But the way that I learn the most is after, like, I post a video, for example, and I'm getting feedback, and then I start readapting. So then, like, the original idea transforms with time. So I think it's important to have that, flexibility. Is that how you feel, like, in a way about your products as well?
Oh, 100%. But I think it's like you need to give time to see if you like what you're doing, if it's going to make money and pay your bills, and thinking about your future.
Do you think you were always meant to be a baker, but you just didn't know?
Wow, that's a tough question. I think I'm meant to be an artist, and I use the baking as a tool to express myself.
At what point in your journey did you realize that this is what you were meant to be doing, that you were meant to be an artist and not a programmer?
It's because make me happy. Yeah. I think something that make you happy is like, it's better than doing something that not make you happy.
And why does baking make you happy?
Because I can be creative. I'm not stuck in something. Like, I remember, I'm gonna put it like this. Doing programming, I was sitting down like 10 hours doing, it's like I'm my little jail, concentrate. Baking is like relax my mind, it's the stress moment, but it's relaxed when I'm doing.
So you think people should pursue a career that makes them happy?
Wow, that's another big one. Depends on what you're looking in life.
If you had to choose between being a really rich programmer and baking on the side, or being, a good income making baker and being able to do that full time, which one would you choose?
If I can put a time that are gonna be very short time, I don't think I could work in programming. I don't know. I don't know.
Happiness is too expensive.
Yeah.
I think that's a big message here.
Yeah.
Don't sacrifice your happiness.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because there are a lot of people who have a lot of money and are unhappy.
Oh, I met a lot of people.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It's like, I know someone, he was my customer. The craziest cake that I did was for him. He's very on the artistic side. He liked to paint, so all that kind of stuff. But he's like, I work during the day, something that I hate, just to pay for something that I love. I'm the opposite. I work on something that I love to pay for something that I love. So,
do you think it requires more courage to do something you love than to do something you hate that pays a lot of money?
Yeah, I think so.
The point of what you're doing is not to be rich, it's to be happy. And then money is a natural consequence from your talent and the love you're putting into your work. I think that pays off long term.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It could be a longer journey, but it pays off. And I have to admit, like, your cake is one of the best things I've ever tried. And I've been to Paris and I've tried their pastries. And yes, they're amazing, but it's same level to me. Like the cake that you delivered during COVID when you started another business that you delivered to LA. I remember my parents were visiting as well, and we were all blown away. My mom was like, does he deliver to Brazil? Like, it's really like massive amount of love and talent. And I've seen that throughout your entire journey. And I think that's something that really comes through. So you've changed my life through cake. And I just also love watching your social media videos. I remember there was a time where you were doing all the trends of making everything look like cake, and you can see how much you enjoy it, you know? And I think that inspires a lot of people, you know? It's more than just a business, it's an inspiration.
It's so weird to inspire people, you know? I don't know. I feel grateful, but it's hard.
It's an accident.
Yeah. I wasn't looking for that.
What do you think is the most surprising part about baking that people don't know about?
Okay, a lot of people come to me and say, I want to bake. This is my passion. This is my dream. I work in an office. That's what I'm going to do. You need to see the bad parts of the baking. How many hours you work standing and like pushing yourself, cleaning. And this is the part that people don't want to do it. They think it's just like, oh, go there, everything's ready, you start decorating, here we go. But the stress behind this is big as well.
Something that I'm noticing and I'm learning from the interviews is that you need to just do something that feels really organic and authentic to yourself. And then you get those moments where you're like surprised that, oh, like people from Germany want to order my heart-shaped cookie. What was that even? How do you even call it? Because it was like a 3D heart.
Yeah, it was like that thing was a mold that is not supposed to be chocolate. So we pour the chocolate, let it cool, and then you put the Nutella, close it, twist it, take it off, and paint in gold. It was 2 pounds of Nutella inside.
It was huge.
It was huge. Yeah, but I remember the first video because Instagram, all this, when you crack it.
Yeah.
And people were buying just to make a video, not to eat, because they want to make a video when you crack it, all the Nutella.
As a content creator, I would say I'm guilty.
Yeah. Because you need to look for different stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And this was, yeah, so we didn't expect it. We thought like, oh, we're going to sell 20 of those for Valentine's Day. This was like 2 weeks before Valentine's. And the next day, like we posted, it was like emails, like 300 emails asking how can I get this? But emails from Germany, France, South Arabia, like I wasn't ready to like, how are we going to do this? It was TV shows, a lot of people coming like, and it was getting a little crazy. And the next one that me and Sarah is doing is very different. You know, but you can't say.
Yes, the next Rodolfo's next business venture is very different from anything you expect, but you're going to have to wait to hear about that one.
You're going to take you out of this world. That's what I'm going to say.
Interpret that as you will.
Be open mind. Sometimes you have dreams that maybe you know that you're never going to achieve. Oh, like when I love Formula 1. So I remember watching Ayrton Senna. I was like, I want to be a race driver. But the real ones, it's like, I can't accomplish that, you know? But I need to put in my face over there and take the chances that I'm going to fail or are going to win. Because it's 50-50. Or you win or you lose. And some people, they scared to put their face out there and say, I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose. No, but it's 50-50. You can win.
I feel like your odds get higher as you keep going.
Oh.
Like gets to 60-40, 70-30. Yeah. Repetition is the key of success too.
100%.
Was there ever a moment along the way that you thought of quitting and doing something different?
Not doing something different, but yeah, it was moments that it's like I wanted to quit. Yeah, like I was doing something that I love, cake, but get to a moment when you need to work like 12 hours standing, make something, it turned into a job, not something that you love anymore. So sometimes you need to get away, step back and say like, I need time for myself as well.
Rodolfo, I know that you're currently not selling cakes, but if people want a cake from you or a special order, can they do that?
Only if it's going to be huge.
So watch Baking Impossible to see what he means by huge.
Yeah, but I'm not taking like small orders like because I'm doing other business right now. I'm not saying it's the end, not yet, but you never know.
So where can people find you and learn about your new business that's going to be announced soon?
So it's going to be on my Instagram. Of course, it's going to be announced soon.
What's your handle?
Rodolfo Cake Designer.
Okay, perfect. I'll put the information on the description of the episode.
So very soon we're going to put more information about what I'm doing next.
Amazing. Rodolfo, thank you so much for
you.
joining us. I'm Carolina Risotto. This was No Ducks Given podcast. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Quack.
Quack.